Donald Trump is now openly telling his supporters to hand over their cash and quickly, or Democrats are going to steal it and give it to immigrants. That, that is the actual pitch that is coming from Donald Trump. He sent out a completely frantic fundraising email, and this was through the Never Surrender PAC. Supporters were warned, you need to donate now, and there is a real risk of problems if you don't. So let's take a look at some of what the email includes. It says, troubles are boiling over. Here are 3 reasons I need you to stop the boil. These read like sales letters. Here are the 3 reasons I need you to stop the boil now, before my end of year fundraising deadline. Number 1, rebate checks on the line. I want $2,000 tariff checks for workers. Dems want to send your check to illegals if you don't respond in the next hour. Do you think Chuck Schumer is sitting there going, you know what? I'm going to wait 60 minutes. And if people don't start donating to Trump, I'm sending checks to illegals. I mean, how stupid do you? Oh, well, I guess the election results sort of speak for themselves. Number 2, last mandatory fundraising report of the year. Reaching our final goal of the year determines everything. To elaborate, it is very likely that our success or failure at reaching this goal will determine whether we keep the Senate and House majority in 2026. We're walking on razor thin ice. And then reason number 3, stopping communism, of which we have none. Trump writes, AOC, Zohran Mamdani, and Ilhan Omar have taken over the Democrat Party with a communist agenda. Please, my deadline expires in less than 48 hours, and we're still so far away from our goal. Stand with Trump. MAGA can't afford to wait any longer. Only a massive and immediate response will do. I need you to help me hit my end of the year. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Now, interestingly, depending on which version of this email you got and which donation page it links through to, the donations, even though he says he needs the money now before the end of the year, there's a little box which says the donation will be recurring, which will be an interesting little treat for people come 2026 and the money's still being deducted. So what's the strategy here? I mean, it's a message that is not relying on policy ideas. It's a message that's relying on panic, imaginary deadlines, and completely made up stuff like communism has taken over the Democratic Party. Big red buttons, stop the boil, stand with Trump, because you've got to protect your money by sending money to a multi-billionaire. Wait, that doesn't really make any sense. And zoom out and look around. We have a cost of living crisis in the United States. While Trump floats the idea of these tariff checks, which even his own economic officials say is unlikely to happen and is kind of a mess, we have a policy that is making the problem worse. It's the tariffs. Trump's out there going, I need your money. And by the way, we recognize things aren't so good. And we remember things aren't so good because of Donald Trump's policy itself. Consumer protection experts are warning this is the kind of rhetoric that fuels scams. When a president tells them, money is waiting for you, donate to me, and that'll allow me to get you this $2,000 check at some point later, you can tweak that very slightly and prey on people with phishing emails and fake fundraising emails and all of it. And a lot of these folks are going to get caught with that. And what makes this arguably worse is that Trump's own voters are starting to catch on. Focus groups show that supporters who backed Trump in 24 are kind of souring on his handling of the economy. We're going to talk about that on the Friday show. They're realizing the tariffs are not really this master plan that's going to fix everything. There's a lot of bait and switch going on. So we've got Trump's promises, cheaper gas right away, cheaper groceries right away. None of it has happened, by the way. Emailing supporters like a televangelist saying they are going to give your money to illegals unless you donate to me. This is very far from leadership. This is certainly desperate. It's an act of desperation. It's looking like a shakedown. And the part that doesn't really add up is, how do some of these people still have money to send to Donald Trump when you consider the state of the economy, and that we know back when Trump was raising money to fight the election results of 2020, which half of it went actually to pay off his campaign debt, he's selling cheap hats and they're buying junk merchandise and it's nonstop fundraising emails. How do they have the money for this once you consider the tariffs and inflation and in just days, health insurance premiums are going to be going up. At some point, you've got to ask, is there any juice left to squeeze out of his followers for Donald Trump? And if the answer becomes no, they become useless to Trump. Trump only cares about his supporters to the extent that they are useful. And if they keep sending him money, then he considers them useful. And if they don't, then all of a sudden he goes back to trying to be isolated from these folks, much like he did in his upbringing as a wealthy guy in Queens and Manhattan. Trump spent most of his life trying to be kept away from the very people he's now grifting for money. At the end of the day, if you're part of the cult, you believe you've got to send the money to the dear leader. You know these prosperity pastors in the Christian evangelical space who go, oh, anything you send me, God will give you back 100-fold. By the way, I'll get a private plane in the meantime, but send me 1,000 and you will get 100,000 back from God. It's the same kind of thing that's going on here. Send the money to the dear leader, no matter whether he's orange or yellow today or whatever color he is. Send the money to the dear leader, and it is going to come back flowing to us, just like the prosperity pastors. But when you turn around, the prosperity pastors have bought themselves a private plane and a G-Wagon, and Donald Trump is doing the equivalent of the exact same thing. Thanks for watching. Check out this other video. And if you like our content, make sure to subscribe so YouTube puts our videos in your feed, and subscribe to the podcast on Spotify and Apple.